while Colin's getting set up, I'm going to do something that I didn't run by Colin, so it's probably a good time to do it. When I was a kid, I always wanted to be a rock star. Has anyone seen Bohemian Rhapsody?
Yeah.
The movie? Yeah. So I just wanted to try this because like when I get a mic and a stage, it just brings me back to being a kid and wanting to be a.
Are we singing?
You didn't get the lyrics before this? All right. So I just want to do a little call and response, just one, real quick, just for, just to fulfill a dream, all right?
Yeah.
So I'm gonna make a sound, and then I'm gonna throw the mic your way, and you guys are gonna do it back. I mean, you've seen the movie, you know what I'm talking about, right?
We've never done this before.
I've never done this before. Ayo! Ayo! Doesn't that feel good?
So,
Yeah.
being on this side of it, that was really cool.
Let me tell you why. That is so cool because as creators, as filmmakers, a lot of time for us is spent alone in a room. And something like this, I just want to say thank you for putting this on because, sometimes it can feel really cool to create, and I love it so much, but it is an isolating career, right? Like you actually are alone in a room for a lot of it. And so getting to come out here and interact with people, that's one of the coolest things that we get to do. Anytime we meet anyone who is a creator or watches our videos, it's just such a powerful thing. And just to come back to what I told you in the beginning, when I was a kid, I wanted to be a rock star. A lot of that was because I liked making music. I liked to share things. I liked to come up with ideas and bring them to life. As I grew older, I wanted to be a filmmaker. I was an aspiring filmmaker. And then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, I became an aspiring creator. And that was a really interesting thing because YouTube wasn't part of the conversation when I was growing up. That was after college when it was, hey, this is a place you can upload videos. Hey, what's happening? That's pretty exciting. So one amazing thing about YouTube is that call and response, and that's part of why I wanted to start that you can put out something and people immediately are there to receive you. Now, to our talk. If you looked online and saw our talk, it was listed as Talk TBD.
And it very much is TBD.
Colin has no idea where I'm going with this. Yeah, he has no idea where I'm going with this. Yeah.
Most TV thing that's happened to me in a while.
So a lot of that, just thinking about that, we just came off of 4 weeks of making a documentary, which has kind of been always our goal since we met each other, was make documentaries. We've made a couple together, but this one was especially different because it was the first time we made something off YouTube and made something for TV. And it was a really awesome experience, but it was extremely grueling, which has led us to this moment where we're here speaking to you guys. And when I saw that line, Talk TBD, I thought about a lot of things in our path that were TBD, that were yet to be determined. When we first started, in 2011, when I started uploading videos to YouTube, the primary thing that was TBD was how the hell this was going to become a career. And I'm the son of an entrepreneur who every day would say, I have no idea how you're supposed to make money doing this. Like, I don't understand what you're doing at all. And so what we wanted to talk about a little bit, especially being here at an ad agency in a beautiful setting, and just talk a little bit about how we made this into a career. And I just want to see from a show of hands, are there aspiring creators in the audience? So I think that it's an interesting conversation because yes, there's a lot creatively that's behind bringing an idea to life in video form. But the dream job is to get to just do that every day and do exactly what you want. And I would say it's 7 years in, we're still aspiring creators. We're still on this path. We've had amazing wins. We've had amazing losses. We've had ups and downs, and we've gone every which way with this career. So just a quick, brief backstory on who we are. I'm Samir. This is Colin, but somehow we're Colin and Samir. I don't know how he negotiated that with our lawyer, but yep. So about 7 years ago, I graduated from film school and was introduced to something called YouTube. I grew up playing a sport called lacrosse, which is, has anyone heard of lacrosse? Anyone? Yeah, okay, good amount of lacrosse people. It's a pretty small sport. There's not a lot of people out there that know about it or play it, but I grew up playing it and I was fascinated by it. And I also grew up making films and making videos with my friends. When I graduated college, I really wanted to create a destination for this community, for this sport. Now, the only type of content there was for this was written content, but I was obsessed with video. I really wanted something to exist. Long story short, I took to YouTube to start uploading content and quickly was able to grow a community. Now, a member of that community was actually Colin. And he was someone who was making videos in the same space. I reached out to Colin, and we ended up collaborating. We ended up working together and distributing some of his content on our channel for 6 months until we convinced him to move out to Los Angeles and join us. Now, when he came out to LA, it was a pretty big undertaking because now we have 3 team members, and we have no understanding of how this is going to make money. And that, for me, I really treated it like, hey, this is our company now. This is what we're going to do. These are our guys, and we're going to figure it out, right? That's like what you do. We all saw The Social Network. Like, you just do something online, and then people pay you. But it didn't work that way, unfortunately. And we went down a path when Colin first moved out where we tried every which way to figure out how to make this a career. I remember walking into our office and seeing Colin taping up boxes of like merchandise that we were shipping out.
I think I was the head of shipping and logistics.
He was a logistics head.
I went from creative director to head of shipping.
We started a private label sticker company at one point where we made stickers for other people. It didn't make any sense, but we basically did anything and everything to try and figure out how to make money to make more videos. That's something that we absolutely loved doing. And as we went on that path, we had a North Star in mind from day one, from when Colin moved out. I kind of sold everyone on the team on this dream of saying, hey, we're going to do this. We're making sports content, and one day, I'm telling you, Nike is going to get into lacrosse, and they're going to want to work with us. And that's going to be what we're all striving for. And that became our North Star. As we created, no matter what we were doing, whether it was making stickers, whether it was making shirts for our audience to buy, as we continued creating more and more videos, we always knew we're doing this in mind with that brand, that one day they're going to come along. Now, if you fast forward a lot of unexpected things later, our company was acquired by another sports media company. And lo and behold, one of our first meetings is Nike. And as we continue to convince them that YouTube is a place for them to work with creators and that we can help bring their message to an audience that makes sense, it took another 2 years. And then finally, we got to work with Nike. And it was an unbelievable moment when we really realized that carrying that North Star is what led us into that direction. Now, along the way, we've done a lot of different types of branded content. Since then, we've left that company and gone off as independent creators. We produce documentary films. We make branded content. But again, we're still figuring it out, and we're still aspiring creators. So I wanted to open it up and have this be a very interactive experience. Some of you are familiar with us. Some of you might not be familiar with us. But some of that story that we just told, or as aspiring creators for everyone who raised their hand, I thought it'd be a good opportunity for us to, this is an intimate setting, do a little bit of Q&A. How does that sound? Does that sound all right? All right. So, Colin, do you have anything?
No, this is your TBD talk. So whatever you have planned, I'm here for. So if anyone has any questions.
Yeah, so let's open it up. Let's start some questions from anyone who's aspiring. Yes, Alex.
So I think a lot of creators can think that, once I get a space, I can start creating. I don't think there's a lot of truth to that. We can create with gear, space, but space is fun, and always curious, what led you guys to getting your space?
So I think you should talk about gear a little bit, because that's a really interesting topic, and then I'll talk about space.
So yeah, I'll start with gear. I mean, for us, when we were building the lacrosse network in the early stages, we had zero money. I remember even before I got there, Samir went up to YouTube and pitched the business, and they asked, well, how much is a video going to cost for you to make about lacrosse? And he and our co-founder, Julian, were up there, and they said, you know what, I think it's going to cost $5,000 to make a video. And YouTube looked at them, and they were like, no, that's wrong. It's going to have to cost you $0. That's the only way that this is going to last, is if it costs you nothing, and it's completely sustainable. So, I mean, when I moved out to LA to work with Samir, I wasn't convinced they had an office. I was barely convinced it was a real company. It was, but we had very minimal resources. I came out, I brought my Canon 60D, my first DSLR at the time, and we were making as many videos as we could, but the first video we made to hit 100,000 views was shot with an iPhone. Totally redefined to us what the value of a piece of content was to the audience. That production value completely meant the value that that piece of content has to the end consumer, not to the type of camera that was shot with. So we realized we had to spend a lot more time thinking about our idea before we turned on any type of camera. And I'll quickly say the beautiful thing about when we started with branded content is that we were able to finally get really nice cameras or add a member of our production team. And we were so transparent with our audience during that time that we could just say, the reason that we're so excited about this next video that comes out is because Marriott allowed us to have an extra filmmaker on it, or allowed us to get a red camera. So I think starting small with your production is super important because you're constrained so much that you just have to think about the idea and then you can go from there.
Yeah, and in terms of space, I think it's the same concept. It's the constraint is the thing that yields the creativity. We're very quick to think we need certain things to be creative, but the less you have, the better the idea, in my opinion. We like to pride ourselves on constraints, and we run something called Weekend Film Fest. I don't know if anyone's submitted, yeah. But basically, that is a 48-hour film festival where we'll submit a prompt, or we'll give out a prompt on a Friday, and by Monday, we'll pick a winner. So we give you 48 hours to make a film. And a lot of people, through that process, make their first video. And it's because they have that constraint. So I think constraints are unbelievable for creativity. In terms of space, that space is a unique story. We were working out of my bedroom in my parents' house when I first started the company. And because I had convinced Colin that we had a company and an office, we had to figure something out. So my dad had a warehouse in downtown Los Angeles, and he said if you clean out the first room, you could use that. And that's what we did. And the space that you see in our YouTube videos now is a redesigned version of that we got to build over the years. So, yeah. Also, Alex, that was a great talk. You did a great job.
Yeah, Alex, that was
Yeah. That was really great. Yes?
How do you guys deal with creative differences?
Nice.
That's a good question. We should tell the one story.
Which story?
The move. The move. I mean, that's probably the closest thing to a creative difference we've had.
Yeah, I would say we've been very lucky across the board to not have that many creative differences to start. We're pretty good at communicating. We spend so much time together that we are pretty good at communicating through a lot. But yeah,
Yeah, so when we were running the Lacrosse Network, there was a lot of stuff that when Colin came on board, we brought in docuseries. And docuseries was a category for us that allowed us to have premium content and sell content to brands. And that was something that was huge for us. So we always wanted to do some sort of docuseries. And we would go back and forth on what was the next docuseries. Now, again, lacrosse is a very small space. There was the biggest player in the space got traded to another team, and I really wanted to do a 4-part docuseries on why this was a big deal. Enter Colin.
So Samir came to me and he said, this is going to be a great story. We have to tell this story of the LeBron James of the sport getting switched to another team. And by calling him the LeBron James of the sport, it makes it feel like it is a very big deal. But in my mind, I still kind of looked at the sport and I was like, look, the pro league's not that developed. The stars aren't that big yet. No one's going to care if this guy plays for Boston or New York. It doesn't matter. It doesn't change the face of the sport. And then Samir looked at me and he said, our job is to make them care. And honestly, from the moment he said that, I did understand. I sort of switched gears and I was like, you know what, you're right. That is our job. We, at the time, considered ourselves the authority on the sport. We treated ourselves as such, even if we maybe were not at that point yet. And when he said that, I looked back at, I understood that he's right. Our job is to tell the story in a way that makes people understand why this is a big deal and make them care. So
Yeah, and it's not that we don't have creative differences. We do, but
that wasn't that much of a difference.
Yeah.
I kind of gave in and was like, yeah, you're right.
yeah, I mean, it's not that we don't have creative differences. We do, but I think just in working through a lot of problems together, we're very solution focused, and so if someone brings a difference to the table, it's like we both respect it. It's like, okay, that's interesting. We should look at that.
No, that our background is very much it's a business relationship first, and so we, like you said, we're very solution focused. We became friends, and we've started this other channel under Colin and Samir, which is much more experimental. But I think because our roots are in really running a business together, a lot of stuff is just more solution focused, much more matter of fact. There's just problems and we just need to solve them, and at this point, I kind of know what Samir does best, and I think he knows what I do best.
Yeah. So, yeah, Marissa.
Oh, cool.
Yes.
Yeah, sorry, it's like probably a three-part question.
Love that.
So you guys got to work with Nike. So my question is, what is your North Star now? And then I guess I look up to you guys as both YouTubers and filmmakers. What is like the day-to-day for Colin Samir? And also, what do you think is your greatest like asset, like strength, and also weakness as a duo?
So that's four. Yeah, that's four. Yeah. We have time for one of four.
Do you want to pick one of those?
Do you want to pick one? The first one was the North Star. Yeah, North Star. So yeah, Nike was a big North Star for us. I think for us when we started creating, it was Samsung. Like Samsung was a big one for us, which was something we got to do recently, which was amazing. But I think our North Star right now is more personal. It's more internal than it's ever been. It has been very external, which has led us to figure out like, okay, we should create in this way, and if we do this thing, and then we need to contact this person, it like gives you a tangible goal. But making a channel called Colin and Samir has made us look at ourselves more. I mean, kind of what you guys said, we're the protagonists in our own story now, and all of a sudden you have to look at your life and edit it every day or every week and be like, whoa, wait, is this exactly what I want to be doing, all the time? Like you said, we make films and we make YouTube videos and we create a lot of content and we're constantly working. And as every year goes by, I think right now our North Star is ourselves. And it's a lot of internal work of figuring out who we are.
I think during the ages of like 22 to 26, that was a great time to have your North Star be Nike. And as I moved from probably from like 27 to now being 30, especially turning 30, it's so much more lifestyle focused. When I look at how I spend my time, I've never had a time in my life before like this, where I'm truly dissecting how I spend my days. If we land a great project, I feel like we just did our first project for TV for NBC, super exciting. But I have to look back at those 3 weeks and say, is that how I wanted to spend that time? And so I think that's how the North Star has totally shifted.
So the last thing I'll say, this is Creators Offline. After this, please feel free to come up to us. Again, we spend most of our time in a dark room alone. So open invite to come talk to us. Ask us any other questions. We'd love to hear about what you guys do. Thank you very much, Yankee, for throwing this. Thank you. Thank you.